Hey guys, another Doctor Who week video. Today we're going to do the Sontaran experiment. This was the third story from Tom Baker's first season, which I think would be the 12th season of the show. This one's This one's actually kind of a little like you guys remember when I had Black Orchid? This one's like something like that. It's a two-part story. And B, it kind of has that much to go with, maybe a little more. This has the same amount of enjoyment I think Black Orchid has, because it's short and it gets to the point. The story is basically the Doctor, Sarah Jane, and Harry Sullivan, who I have not talked about because I haven't done any stories with him before. Harry was basically because the plan was to get an older gentleman to be the Doctor after Pertwee left, and they wanted a companion to basically do all the physical action stuff, which Harry does, but Baker does a fair share too because he's young enough and spry enough at the time. He does have his own character. He works pretty well as a foil to Baker. Not as much here, but his overall character. They get beamed on this planet after leaving Nerva, which I mentioned. That's an arc in space. And they find that this group of, I can't even remember what they are, because I rewatched this a couple times. I can't even remember. I think they were scavengers or hunters or something. And it turns out they are being plucked off one by one by the Sontaran, who's basically doing torturous experiments on them, hence the name, the Sontaran experiment. And the Doctor and his companions have to basically save the people who he hasn't managed to kill yet, and that's about it. They do all this shit until they finally get beamed back. I'm not spoiling much because that's why this story in a nutshell is very simple. If I can remember right, this only exists because they got an order of episodes, and the script editor, Robert Holmes at the time, who's written some of the best stories, he wrote Talons and Caves of Androzani, which I've reviewed before. He wanted to kind of change up the fray a little and turned, because they were going to have two, I think their plan was to have two six-parters. They simply turned one of the six-parters into a four-parter, and then gave the other, had the writers who wrote this cook up a quick two-part story. And the thing is, this is just like Black Orchid, and it's not harmless. It's just long enough. If it was any longer, I don't know how it could work. Only because the main gesture is simply them rolling on the field, which, by the way, this one doesn't feature the TARDIS. It's all location work. It's cool to see you roam around this field, especially some of the places they managed to find to work with. It's mostly them just running away from the Sontaran long enough for the transmat beam to work, and they can transport. That's really it. But there's some fun parts. It's a cool chase story. There's some suspense. Hell, Tom Baker broke his arm doing this. So it manages to keep your attention very well. In terms of performances, the supporting cast managed to put the right amount of fear when they're facing the Sontaran, and come off like your standard, oh god, we're scary guys with knives, ooh. The Sontaran himself is playing the role he should as a Sontaran, simply obeying orders and being a scientist. The closest thing we get to a connection is the fact that Sarah thinks she recognizes him, but you eventually learn that, the Sontarans are a clone race. So, it may look like him, which is weird because at least from the picture I saw, apparently, of the first time she saw a Sontaran in her first appearance, they, looked nothing alike because they managed to improve the makeup, but whatever. It works. I love how she tried to have a personal connection, but it turns out that was deteriorated because, this one doesn't even know who the hell she is. Oh, irony. But oh no, I thought it was a fun thing. It's only two parts, roughly roughly 40 something minutes, 50 minutes. It will kill you in the end. And plus, if you can find it for really cheap. Barnes and Noble, I know, sells it for like $10, and you can find it for way cheaper than that on eBay if you look. So and plus, and again, just like Black Orchid, the DVD's worth getting because it has this really nice 20-minute long documentary about the Sontarans throughout the classic series. Because I don't think they debuted by then. I don't know if they did. Let's see. No, I think, well, if not, I think the DVD was planned and this documentary was made before they debuted in the new series. So it's all just classic stuff, which again is cool. So yeah, I think it's an okay story. I don't, I don't think there's any harm in seeing it or going to get it. But again, it's nothing amazing, but it's definitely not the worst.